Welcome back to the channel, guys. So, as we know, I'm a nerd, hence the part of the name nerd in my channel name. Part of that is not only the tech stuff, because I'm into business concepts, I'm into tech concepts, but I also like to talk about anime and comics and use those comparisons to talk about business, but primarily tech concepts to make them easy to understand. In the world, like being a nerd is actually celebrated now. Like nerdum, mainly when it comes to like comics and anime being a big one, it's all mainstream now, and it's actually accepted. You know what I mean? I think video games was the one form of nerdum that, at least as guys, that we all had in common, but it was still depending on what type of stuff you were into. That's probably the one thing to consider a nerd activity that wasn't really a nerd activity. And ironically, like no matter what background you came from, if we was playing Dragon Ball Z, all the guys, we were on it. You know what I'm saying? But when you wanted to pull out Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff, that's where it could get a little iffy and a little more niched, and you get made fun of and stuff. But now everybody's on it. Like everybody's on Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, Dragon Ball. Daima's out now. Bleach. I saw a TikTok of a girl that just got into the Soul Society arc, and she's hooked. And she's like, "Oh yeah, this one's goated." Like, yeah. Now imagine if you grew up with it. You know what I'm saying? You didn't actually have to sit and wait week by week for Naruto during the Land of Waves arc or Bleach the Soul Society arc. You know what I'm saying? And I caught up on One Piece super late, so I can't even talk about like Alabasta and nothing like that. I don't even know if that happened around the same time. But I was on other stuff still, but it's like it's so funny how being a nerd is actually accepted now. BlurCon, DreamCon being the two biggest, I want to say black owned and majority black fan, like populated conventions. But then you got NecoCon. I think you have different versions, not of DreamCon. There's something else. I know there's one that takes place down in like Florida. They're all over the place. I'm from San Diego, so I know about Comic Con. They have New York Comic Con as well. All that stuff. You know what I mean? Like and the fan base was always there, and primarily we're talking about girls. Guys, we usually didn't hide. Well, we hit it, but at the same time, we would show up to these places. Um, it's really funny seeing a lot of girls get into it, but even in general, like again, the stereotype of like the jock, like you can be a nerd and be a jock at the same time. You can be a anime geek and be, in fact, a lot of us guys who have a love for martial arts, especially if you actually participate in it to some degree or have, you most likely either got the bug from anime or that just like fanned the flame even more, depending on your life story, right? I It's just interesting to see, like all of a sudden it's all over the place. It's always been in rap, especially with like Wu-Tang Clan, RZA and them. Um, but it wasn't like all over the place. Like if you listen to Key Glock now, like Let's Go is probably his biggest song from or in the moment. At the moment, Let's Go is probably Key Glock's biggest song. And he makes a Super Saiyan Goku reference. That's like the number one anime reference a lot of people have made. Even Michael B. Jordan, I think he might have helped make an anime and just being a nerd more digestible. The fact that you can watch Creed 3, where he said that he intentionally incorporated anime tropes and behaviors in that movie, and you can see it from a mile away. Like you can blatantly see, well, depending on how you interpret it, I've heard a few different things, but like where they had that like moment in the movie, I guess spoilers real quick, but when they had that moment in the movie where they kind of canceled everybody out in the boxing match, him and um Jonathan Major's character, I'm forgetting his name, I'm blanking again, but when they like forgot everybody else was there and it was just them and they were just going at it, and it ultimately ended with them clocking each other at the same time, that classic thing. There are so many anime that do that, but the number one anime reference that came from me was, I want to say, Super Saiyan 2 Goku versus Majin Vegeta. That was like the number one reference that came to mind. I bring all this up, talking all that time, I bring all this up to say, and I wonder, do y'all think it's a good thing that nerdum in all its different forms, it doesn't have to be just anime, has like blown up and it's mainstream now? I'm not even worried about that. Like, you weren't there with us shooting in the gym, getting bullied and all that. No, like just the sheer size of it. You know what I mean? Like, do y'all think, I guess more, well, this is just one component of it, not only the social aspect of it, but the other part being like literally, like there's so much media to keep up with. Even outside of anime, there's so much media to keep up with. Comic books. Like I don't read comics. I didn't grow up reading comics. But I like to watch like Comic Storian. Rest in peace to Comic Storian. Comics Explained are probably my top two places when it comes to, digesting comic storylines that I, don't read. But now it's not, oh, like I don't want to read because I don't want to be too much of a nerd. Like I was insecure about it growing up. I keep myself busy, so I don't have time to go online and read manga, read comics, all that stuff. Like if there's nothing for me to watch, then I'm most likely using YouTube to digest those storylines. And even then, I'm not getting all the details. Like, even when it comes to the Absolute Universe that just kicked off, which is a good jumping on point for new fans in the comics who want to read the actual comics. A lot of those universes, like you have Absolute. I want to say DC Rebirth was the one before that. Or was that what was that? Something Frontier. Was it New Frontier? Something like that. It might have been that one. Then it was Rebirth, which I have a Superman. I know I have a Wonder Woman. I want to have a Superman comic of that one, or just a straight up Justice League. But then before that, before DC Rebirth, I believe it was New 52. And you go further back, and not only people on YouTube, but I believe the storylines themselves make references to their alternate like timeline selves and versions and stuff like that. And it's like I want to see that, but that is commitment. Like it literally is a job to be a nerd. Whether you're doing content creation or not, being a nerd that actually wants to keep up with stuff is so hard because you gotta keep up with the comics, you gotta keep up with manga that's ahead of the anime. Then on top of the anime, whether it's Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War, Dragon Ball Daima is coming out or is out, is 5-6 episodes deep. I didn't know. I saw the first one and I was waiting, and next thing I knew, it was at episode 5. I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I missed that much time. Personally, I'm watching Dragon Ball Z Kai right now. I saw some episodes in the past, but I was like, I didn't understand the point. Like, we already see Dragon Ball Z. Why do we need this? It didn't do anything different. I was thinking it's like a continuation. I'm like, this is the same thing. I didn't realize at the time when Dragon Ball Z Kai was like going, and it was the 20th anniversary of the original show, that they also replaced the dialogue with dialogue that was more like accurate in terms of the manga. I didn't know that. So I'm just now like seeing it. I'm seeing some of the stark differences in dialogue. The way Goku went at Frieza on Namek, his attitude. It's beautiful. Like dialogue wise, I'm taking Dragon Ball Z Kai any day. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's a job to be a nerd, bro. Like it's not even a casual thing anymore. It's too much to keep up with. If you're trying to stay ahead of the storyline, manga, but then that's money, time. The way that economy's going with jobs and stuff, you most likely need to have 2 to 3 side hustles. You know what I'm saying? At least to try to excel. And we're acting like that's normal, by the way. That's not normal. We're literally giving up our lives just to make a dollar. Well, we'll see how much longer that'll exist. Yeah, man. Like, it's just a lot. For me, it's nice. It's nice to finally see, of course, people like me, but people in general be into the same stuff. I like that. I like that people are actually embracing it and be like, oh wow, like this is some dope stuff. And now they're catching up on Bleach. I've seen Bleach multiple times, and again, a lot of girls being like, oh man, I caught up on Pokemon, or I started Pokemon, like some of the classics, or Demon Slayer, but then I went back to like I started Naruto, finished that. Now I'm in Bleach, and oh my god, I see why people love Bleach. Like I like seeing that stuff. Yeah, man, I like it. I like seeing people in general be like, hey man, I ignored this stuff growing up. I wasn't into it, and now it's blown up. It's a whole culture, subculture. Hey, they may end up getting hip to it and they end up really liking it. The gaming part of the event, dope. That's consistent with cons. So overall, I like it. But it does make it difficult because it's like, dude, there's so much. The popularity of anime blew up so much, which is what's leading to even more content being made. And everyone swears like a lot of these shows, Windbreaker. Again, you got JJK, Demon Slayer. Even though I think, My Hero Academia, the manga ended already. I know My Hero Academia, Vigilante's a thing, but they're strictly manga right now, and I don't plan on starting that again. It's just a lot of time. Rise of the Shield Hero came back. Season 2 is I haven't started season 3 yet, but season 1 was hype. Has this give and take, pros and cons, all that stuff. I overall like it. How big it is, the way we can openly indulge in it. People come from different walks of life. That's always a benefit with anything you do. So overall, I like it. But I'll go and leave that video off here, guys. Go ahead and let me know your opinions below. Do you also enjoy the way like it's just blown up anime and just nerd stuff in general, comics and anything else, even engineering, like science stuff? That was considered exclusively for geeks and nerds as well. You know what I'm saying? Me being a tech guy, You know, do you like that that's like normalized and that's pushed and we openly enjoy it, and to the point where it's like it's, you know, becoming the thing to be a part of? Do you think, you know, for some people, are you more passionate? I would say maybe more purists, in that you weren't like this basically out the womb. Like I was basically a baby watching Pokemon and Gundam and stuff like that, even when I truly did not know what I was watching. So, you know, are there some purists out there that are like, hey man, if you wasn't with us when the foundation was set, when we had to watch Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, whatever on Toonami, you know, you just riding the wave now? Or are you also open to like, hey man, like, come on, y'all a little behind, y'all late, but come in, welcome, welcome. So yeah, go and give me your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in the next video.